Yesterday was an introductory topic. Today, we're going to start our chapter about probability. Probability has to do with experiments and outcomes and events that can happen. So some vocabulary to know is experiment means an investigation or procedure that has varying results. Outcome is the possible results you can get from your experiment. An event is a collection of one or more outcomes. So just like you'd have an event for a sport or anything, something that has more than one outcome. And favorable outcomes are the outcomes of a specific event. Let's look at an example here. We see that we have a total of 8 tiles. Now these are the questions we're going to ask. How many possible outcomes are there? What are the favorable outcomes of choosing a vowel? And in how many ways can we choose a consonant occur? So if we choose a letter at random from a hat from these letters, how many different outcomes can we come up with? 8 is the correct answer because we have 8 tiles. Even though some of them repeat, we could still get different tiles every time we pull out a different letter. The next question asks about favorable outcomes of choosing a vowel. The correct answer is A, E, and A. So a favorable outcome is just when we have a correct option. So here we're looking for vowels, and we know that A, E, and A are all tiles that involve vowels. A incorrect, and again I repeat, incorrect option to pick for a favorable outcome of a vowel would be like D or B or C, because we know that they're not vowels. Our next question asks, how many ways can choosing a consonant occur? The correct answer is 5. We know this because we have 8 letters and 5 of them are consonants. What if you were to spin this spinner? These are the 3 questions we're going to ask, and we're going to see if we can answer them. Our first question is, how many possible outcomes are there? The possible outcomes are 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, and 4. As we go around the spinner, we find that 1 is on there 3 times. But our question asks, how many possible outcomes are there? So that means there are 6 different outcomes. What are the favorable outcomes of spinning an even number? So an even number on our spinner here is 2 and 4. So that means that the only numbers on our spinner that are even are 2 and 4. Our last question is, in how many ways can spinning a number less than 2 occur? Less than 2 on our spinner means it's going to have to roll a 1. So in order to roll a 1, we have to land on one of the red spaces. There are 3 out of 6 of those red spaces. So there are 3 different ways to land on a number less than 2. Our next vocabulary word is probability. Probability is the number that represents the likelihood that the event will occur. An example of that is weather. So you see all the time on weather on what the chances are of snow or rain or of sunshine. So here we're given 3 calculations, and we have to use that information to answer the questions. So the problem says there's an 80% chance of rain, a 50% chance of thunderstorms, and a 15% chance of hail tomorrow. Describe the likelihood of each event. So in our problem, we just need to find where our information is at. So for the first question, what is the chance there is rain tomorrow? It said in our given information there's an 80% chance of rain. So therefore, the probability that it will rain is 80%. The next, what is the probability there's a thunderstorm tomorrow? It said in our problem, there's 50% chance of thunderstorms. This means the probability of thunderstorms tomorrow is 50%. It says there's a 15% chance of hail tomorrow. So therefore, the probability of hail tomorrow is 15%. Relative frequency is the fraction or percent of the time that the event occurs. We find that by putting the number of times the event occurred over the total number of times you conducted the experiment. In a total of 25 flips. That's enough information to set up our relative frequency. In order to set up our relative frequency, look back at the equation we're given. It's the number of times the event actually occurs versus the total number of times you conducted the experiment. So in our problem, it told us the bottle landed upright twice, and the number of times you tried is 25. So what we wanted to happen was it to land upright. So therefore, the 2 goes on top because that's what we wanted to happen. The 25 goes on the bottom because that's how many times we tried to get the bottle to actually go upright. So now that we have our fraction, we can divide 2 by 25 and get 0.08. That means that 8% of the time it's likely that you're going to land the bottle upright. But that also means that 92% of the time you're likely for the bottle to land on its side. So it is unlikely that the bottle lands upright most of the time. The last problem that we're going to cover here is modeling a game. So you draw a token at random and then replace it in the bag. How many times can you expect to draw a positive coin value in 35 turns from the given information? So our given information tells us that 10 times we pulled a +3 coin out, 7 times we put a +1 coin out, and 3 times we pulled a -1 coin out. If you look at our problem carefully, it says how many times can you expect to draw a positive coin value in 35 turns? But 2 of our coin values are positive. So that means we're going to add together our frequencies of those 2 coins. So when we add together the frequencies of a +3 coin and a +1 coin, we're trying to find all the coins, so when we add those together, we get an answer of 17. And since all of our frequencies add up to 20, it's 17 over 20, which is then equal to 0.85, which is then equal to 85%. 85 is a large percentage, so therefore it is likely that you pull out a positive coin.